If you having builder problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 47 problems, but this land ain't one. What? What's going on, Skye Squad? We back in the building and we discussing today who's the better builder. That is the question, right? That is the question after watching last night's episode. But how are you gonna be a builder if you ain't got no license? Okay, that's the question of the hour. Okay, but before we get into episode 2 of season 3 of Love and Marriage Huntsville, I want to know where y'all watching from in this good chatterization family. Where you watching from? Where you watching from? Okay, come on, Philly in the house. Yes, bars. Come on now. Come on now. Yes, on board from Augusta, Georgia, where it's lit as this topic, right? Nairobi, Kenya in the building. Hey, we got actual Huntsville, Alabama in the building. Hey, come on now. Listen, Chandra, we about to head on over to that 47 acres and build us some homes, okay? I don't know how long it takes to get a builder's license, but we might have to get our license, y'all. We might have to get a license so we can build some land on these houses, okay? We got New York in the house. We got Philly, Jacksonville, Jersey, Atlanta, Bahamas. Hey, thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate you. Grand Rapids, Dublin, Ireland, Seattle, Washington, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Go Bucks. Auburn, Alabama, Dallas, Texas, Buffalo, Boston. I see y'all. Come on, Boston is in the building today. Canada's in the building. Torrance, California, Chesterfield, Virginia down the street. Come on, Fort Hood, Texas. Hey. Ooh, Claire, you hitting the nail up on that good head already. We ain't even got down to the thing yet. Shout out to everybody in the chatterization. I appreciate y'all from watching all over. Worldwide love. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. Shanta says, who's the better builder? Bob is the better builder. Hashtag Bob the builder. Well, Bob better come save Martell. Okay. Maybe Martell needs to partner with Bob. Maybe actually Bob is Martell's business partner, building partner. Okay. We'll find out in just a second. Now, thank you for that super chat, though. So let's get into it. Okay, let's get all the way into it. We start this episode with Kimmy deciding to run her issues with Letitia by Maurice at his office. Now, I like his office. It's real futuristic like or whatever. Anyway, Kimmy is always hearing how bad of a sister she is to Miss Letitia, and so she doesn't feel comfortable reaching out to Letitia. I mean, the fact of the matter is they are sisters-in-law, and they don't have to be that close. I mean, it just is what it is. That don't mean y'all got to be best friends. Thank you so much, Erica, for the super chat. Happy belated birthday. I appreciate you. Anyway, Kimmy relays to Maurice that Letitia expects her to change according to what Letitia needs. That to me sounds like a very it doesn't even sound like a reasonable request to make of anybody. I mean, you either accept your friends and family for who they are or you don't accept them at all. And Letitia is grown enough that she should know this by now. But I digress. Speaking of Letitia, she is recapping the picnic with Marceau, and she realizes that there was no drama at the picnic because her mama wasn't there. Well, yeah. Okay, that's true. But the family was bringing enough drama for her mama anyway. So her mama might as well have been there because Kiki and the brother was bringing some drama that I don't remember from last week's episode. Now, we could have talked about it and I could just be having a mental blackout, but I definitely need y'all to tell me if y'all remember this conversation happening. And we'll get to it in a second. She gets into her issues with Kimmy. Letitia said that she hopes that Kimmy can abide by what she wants as a friend. And to me, if I'm Kimmy and I'm watching these episodes back and I hear this girl saying that I need to abide by her friendship rules and policies and regulations and standard operating procedures, then we won't be friends. I cannot understand for the life of me why it is that Letitia expects for everybody to bow down and give her what she needs as a friend. That to me is it's dumb. It's dumb to me. Okay. And, you know, it's dumb because I know that Letitia, who has just gotten her second master's degree, who has kids of her own and a whole husband of her own and businesses that she is running, why she expects so much of this woman's time and energy and affection. I don't get it. Anyway, Marceau pops up with the fact that her family tried to check him about this outside baby. Now, I didn't save my notes from last week, and so I don't really remember. But did we see that conversation where her brother, Letitia's brother, asked Marceau about the baby last week? Or was this added in this week? I need to know. Did we see? We didn't see it last week, did we? We saw them talking to him and giving him a hard time. But okay, cool. So I'm not blanking on that. We didn't see that last week. So great. Thank you. I'm glad it wasn't just me. So this week we are introduced to this notion via a flashback, which I did not like because I felt like it should have been introduced last week. But nevertheless, we are introduced to this new element that there was a child that Marceau allegedly has that the people were asking him about, specifically Letitia's brother. He wanted to know what was the deal with the situation. And I want to know too, okay? And so Letitia chalks it all up to it just being social media mess. Okay. Is there a membership to join? I thought about doing I think I'll do a membership. And I mean, if you want to join it, you can join it and support, but I haven't done one yet. It was edited out. The conversation we heard was pertaining to the other side of the tracks comment. Yes, that was what they was arguing about. That's where it was coming from. Okay. That came from his live. He says something about more kids. So wherever it came from, Letitia is chalking it up to social media mess. Marceau says that he would stay with Letitia if she had an outside baby. And I call BS on that. Okay. Listen, this man in the past has treated this woman so subserviently that I just feel like I don't think he would stay with her if she was walking around their home carrying another man's baby. I cannot believe for the life of me that he would choose to stay with her. What I do think is that he was covering his bases just in case something like that ever happened. Now, I'm not saying that it did because I don't know. I'm trying to find out just like T-Man is trying to find out, okay? Anyway, she says that she would divorce him and take everything that he has. Now, I feel like that's a little bit of a lie too, because I don't know. You never know how strong a person is until they're really put to the test. But in some way, shape, or form, I feel like she might end up taking him back. I don't know. That's just me. Anyway, Melody is back to her original hair. Okay, she back with the blonde and, the salt and pepper slicked down to the side, shaved on the side. Okay, she back to her original do. And Martell, she's not feeling Martell right now because of his social media behavior. All these people's problems really stem from social media, if you really think about it. The baby situation is allegedly social media issues. Martell and Melody's issue right now is because he posted their baby girl Milani and also advertised his new baby. Okay, So sometimes I feel like if these people just stayed off social media, they would probably have less problems, but then we might have a little less show. Okay. Anyway, he's there to pick up the kids. Okay. Yeah, it was her original hair. Salt and pepper. Oh, chime down in the chatterization. Good question. Do you like the original hair better or do you like the red hair better? That's a really good question. That's a good question. Let us know in the chat. Okay. He's there to pick up the kids. They chit chat, but she wants to chat outside first and set some boundaries about respect. Now, I want you to notice that she don't let him beyond the threshold of that house. Okay. Y'all know, y'all peep that he could not come past the front, that the front carpet where you wipe your feet down, where you wipe them down. He couldn't even come past that front part of the house. Okay. So she sends him outside. Let's go talk outside. Now, apparently there's some issues between the two of them and when each other is going to pick up the kids. So she's saying that when it's time for him to pick up the kids, he don't want to pick them up. And then he's saying that she do the same thing. He's got issues with her knowing what he posts on social media and coming at him, cursing him out, referring to the post of Milani where he was advertising his new baby. But he says that in retrospect, he probably shouldn't have done it. You don't say. You don't say. You don't say. You don't say. You shouldn't have done it. It was just, you know, I don't know. It was just, it was dumb. It didn't make no sense to me. She talks about his media tour where he's talking about her and mentions all his interviews. And she even mentions him calling Q Funky Dineva when she was being interviewed by Q. And I don't know if you guys recall that interview, but I watched it. It was good too. And somebody was really calling from Huntsville. And so they surmised, well, Q surmised at the time and Melody surmised at the time that it was Martell calling. Chime down in the chat if you watched that interview. And he admits to calling Funky Dineva. And then she says that she wants to get a counselor to help them work through how they co-parent. And he agrees. Now, this is probably one of the first decisions that they have made together that I actually agree with. And I feel like it is going to be for their benefit. But on a production front, let me just state this. Now, because I like to sometimes talk about production because that's also, it's not, I don't want to say it's my area of expertise, but just having witnessed reality TV production firsthand, I can tell you that it is smart for them to actually have to go to therapy to co-parent. It's smart for the couple, it's smart for the kids, but it's also smart for the show because it allows them to continue to have a reason to film together. Okay. So there's that. For some reason, the scene, now speaking of production, in the edit, I don't recall why. I guess she had went back inside to get the kids. It just seemed like in the blink of an eye, she had disappeared into the house and he was left outside in the cold, well, in the hot again. Okay. And he's left knocking on the door. Can I come in? Can I come in? And Mel's mom answers the door and lets him in. But neither Mel nor her mom will let him pass the front foyer. You can't even come past the welcome mat, sir. You stay right here. Stay by the door. She comments that he's been super busy. So now me and Bae was having a conversation as we were watching this. And Bae was like, should Melody's mama get involved? Now that's the question I want to ask you guys. Should Melody's mama get involved in this situation? So I'm going to tell you my response and I want to know what you guys say about it. Okay. Now for me, my thought was, at one point in time, Melody's mom was technically his stepmother, okay? And as his stepmother, she looked at him as her son in some respect as well. So with that being said, to me, it would only be human nature that she would have some reason to want to ask him questions about what's happening, why it happened, how it happened, and whatnot. It's natural. Now, should she do it? Maybe, maybe not. But because there is a real familial relationship there, i.e., mother-in-law and then son-in-law, I felt like it was human of her to want to say something. Okay. Did I say stepmother? I meant mother-in-law. Mother-in-law. Y'all know what I meant? Y'all know what I meant. But y'all get what I'm saying. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all know what I meant. Work with me, people. Work with me. Yes, it's 14 years. It's 14 years of having a relationship. So to me, she is equally as involved. And I felt like that. You know what I'm saying? I felt like he hurt her. So she is going to want to say something because not only did her daughter hurt, but she probably hurts too. You know what I'm saying? But that was my thought. I would like to know, do you guys feel like she had a right to say anything in that situation? Because he doesn't want to address anything with her at all. And he basically says that she only knows one side of the story. And and at that point, she says, well, you can save it. You can save it. And she's using her hands. Okay. He calls the kids down because he says, because grandma is giving me the hand. And he basically tells her that she's being disrespectful. Was she being disrespectful? I don't really know if I felt like she was being disrespectful as much as I feel like I just feel like you have to have a certain level of respect for your elders. And I cannot see myself ever speaking to my mother-in-law that way. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. And I guess because, and Martell is raised in the South too. And I was about to say it's because I was raised in the South that I just have a certain way that I will not speak to anyone who is, you know, as a family member who is older than me. I mean, they would have to be literally cursing me out in order for me to like say, hold up, like we're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I just feel like Martell tends to get a tad bit disrespectful with Mel's mom. And I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just how I felt. Claire, come on, Claire. Exactly. I'm just reading. I wanted to read some of you guys' comments and put them on the screen because I feel like it's important to see some other opinions about it because I wanted to know how you guys felt about it. Let's move on. Kimmy and Maurice ask Monster. It's a new scene. Kimmy and Maurice ask Monster what he's going to do for the summer. He wants to mow lawns. He just don't want to mow their lawn. And he wants to have a business mowing lawns using a riding lawnmower. They say he just wants to get paid, but he don't want to do no work. I was the same way when I was a youngster, so I ain't going to even, I ain't going to even hate on the kid. Okay. He wants to go to high school at Madison Academy. Then they call his mom Kiowa. Now, by they, I mean Maurice. Okay. Maurice calls Kiowa, but Kimmy has to announce that she's there, and Kiowa greets her. Now, this is a subject of soreness for Kimmy because she feels like whenever there's a conversation about Monster and Maurice and Kiowa are talking, she has to introduce herself into the conversation in order to be a part of it because Maurice does not introduce her in those conversations. But speaking of all this, Kiowa wants to have a conversation with the two of them to clear the air because the last time they all sat down together face to face was at the reunion for season 1 when Kiowa claimed that Kimmy and Maurice were dating while he was still in the process, or while he was still married to Kiowa or something like that. And we also get a scene with Kiowa and Letitia, with Letitia taking Kiowa's side in the disagreement, which is so interesting considering how much Letitia needs Kimmy to back her up and to be on her side and to call her and to hang out with her and to paint her fingernails and cut her toenails and to pick her earwax. Okay. It's just odd to me. Letitia is such a walking contradiction, but you know, it is what it is. Over down to Mel's office, we get Tiffany stopping by. Tiffany is the new girl on the block. Now, she and Mel have been friends for 7 years. Tiffany does business consulting and HR work, and she's recently married, and she has been divorced before, and she got a kid from a previous marriage. That's Tiffany in a nutshell right there for y'all. Now, Mel is rebranding and wants to keep up the momentum while balancing being a single mom. So she wants to hire some interns from some HBCUs, which I think is awesome. She also wants Tiffany to hang out with Destiny because, you know, Destiny is recently divorced. Ooh, almost got choked up talking about that one because, you know, that was a surprise. And she reveals that Tiffany and Destiny have so much in common. I bet they don't. Okay, I bet they don't. Because Tiffany seemed real nice in this episode, but I don't know how she gonna seem next week. Anyway, Martell stops by Chris's house. Chris is studying for his builder's license. Now, this is where it all goes down about the builder's license. Apparently, Martell failed failed to get his builder's license 7 years ago. The 47 acres has closed. Chris tells Martell that the developer wanted to see if Melody still had her builder's license in order for her to build some homes. So in my notes, I wrote, so Melody has her builder's license. Did Martell ever get his? We about to find out. Martell is still upset, and he lets it be known that Mel didn't want any issues. And Chris lets it be known that Mel didn't want any issues with Martell over this land. Martell is then mad at Chris because Chris went to Melody in the first place. And I wrote in my notes, now Martell is mixing business with business with personal. Martell, we find out, does not have his builder's license because 7 years ago when he failed, I guess he never passed. So he has to partner with other companies that do have their builder's license in order for him to do any actual building. So this leads me to believe, now I don't know, I hate to say it, but I felt like Destiny alluded to this last week, that Melody might have just been the brains behind the Holt and Holt operation, okay? And I'm not saying that because he failed his builder's license that he ain't got the smarts to do it. But what I am saying is she passed her builder's license, so she does have the qualifications to do it, okay? So there's a difference. Note what I just said, okay? Now the clients know that Mel has her license. Martell is upset because he's trying to get his life back together, and now this is happening. Well, get your life back together by getting your license, son. You over here worried about these women, all up in the women's faces, trying to get the cooter. But instead of trying to get the cooter, what you could have been doing was getting your license. You could have been spending some time on the back porch like Chris, getting your license instead of running down to the street or wherever you was running to with little Miss May or whoever she was, okay, whoever she is that's got the new baby. You could have been doing that, okay? That's what you could have been doing all this time. No shade, no tea. But if you really want to get your life back together, then you can start with going through the process by which you need to start getting your business together, okay? Now, I'm not saying it's easy because we all go through issues. Everybody got issues, and Martell says he is stuck, okay? And yes, he is stuck because he is stuck in a prison of his own making. He did this. He put himself in this position, and now he is facing the consequences of those decisions, and that depression is a result of those decisions. Now, depression is real, and I do think it's a real thing, and I want to acknowledge that for a second because we all face it. I face anxiety every day. I have really, really bad anxiety, but you know what I have to do every single day? Every single day, I get myself ready. I get myself together. I put my notes together and I sit down to have a conversation in front of y'all, even though I face anxiety and issues of that sort, as we all do. But guess what we all have to do? And Mel has to tell him this later. You cannot stop. You cannot. Life does not stop because you have anxiety or depression. And I don't want to sound insensitive to anybody that's dealing with depression, but I want to let you know that you got to find a way to carry on. Okay. And one of those ways in which you can carry on is by getting that builder's license. And then you won't have these issues with Melody potentially taking your business propositions. Okay. Anyway, and why would you not want her to win? Why can't she build 2 or 3 houses on this land and have her get some money? Because that'll put money in your kids' pockets. To me, it's selfish of him the way he's thinking about this situation, because at the end of the day, if she got her builder's license, let her build some things on the land too. Keep it all in the family, but you ain't looking at this like a team, okay? Anyway, Martell then learns that Chris is getting his builder's license too, so he can start getting some buildings going on that land too. Now, I don't know if that's questionable or not, because it sounds like Chris could be partnering with Melody. And honestly, it almost sounds to me like Chris is basically making a business decision and saying, listen, Mel do good business. You don't do good business. And Chris might be putting that business before the friendship. And Martell has a problem with that because Martell feels like Martell brought them the client. But now the client don't even want to work with you. How about that? How about that? You so stuck in your situation. You so stuck doing social media games and tricks that ain't taking you nowhere in life, that you done now brought a client to Chris. That client no longer wants to do business with you. They want to do business with your wife because she got the qualifications. Now, I don't know. I don't know what that makes Chris. I don't know if that makes Chris a smart businessman or a bad friend. He could be both. I don't know. But let me know what y'all think in the conversation, because I'm conflicted about it. Okay. I'm conflicted about it because at the end of the day, Chris might have to choose to just not be friends with Martell if he wants to grow his business. But what's more important, business or friendship? Good question. Chris tells Martell, well, you go talk to the client and you tell the client how you feel. Martell feels like because he brought the buyer, then everything should stay under Martell's name, but you ain't got no builder's license. Anyway, Melody and Martell decided to go to co-parenting therapy. Martell felt the past therapist was biased because the past therapist was happily married and didn't never have no marital issues and wasn't cheating on his wife, and therefore could not understand his plight. And so therefore that therapist was biased. Okay. So Miss Aisha Price is the therapist. She asked how the kids are doing. He feels like he doesn't want to introduce therapy to the kids because the kids are going to be introduced to issues that they don't already have. That's not how therapy works. Okay. Mel feels differently. She feels like the way Martell feels is indicative of the way a lot of people in the Black community feel about therapy, that you go into therapy for an issue that's almost too late to fix. Okay. Now, not that it's too late, but usually therapy is a last line of resort for a lot of people in the Black community. And that's just the truth. It's been historically the truth, because a lot of times they'll tell you, well, go down to the church and let the pastor pray it away for you, but you still ain't doing no work. Okay. Anyway, she gives a very detailed account of how each child is being individually affected by the divorce. So, Mel then says Martell tells her all the time when it's time for him to come pick up the kids, y'all can just keep doing what y'all doing. That's when he confides that he's stuck and not doing so well financially. Again, see the past 10 minutes of conversation that I just had in the response to that. Okay. Because I'm not going down that road again. Because this is his own fault. He accepts responsibility for all of this. And then that makes Melody emotional because she does not want to see him suffer. And that's some love right there. And I don't blame her for feeling that way because he is still the father of her kids. So I understand why she would not want to see him suffer. He's getting emotional and she is just trying to comfort him by rubbing his arm rubbing her hand on his shoulder, and he snaps at her, and he's like, basically telling her to get off of him or whatever, stop doing it. And in my mind, I was like, oh, you're so rude. You can't even accept love from somebody. But then I thought to myself, wait a minute. Actually, it wasn't me. It was Bae. But the thought was, what if Martell does not want the new baby mama to see Melody rubbing up on him, and he trying to protect himself from her wrath by keeping Melody off of him on the TV screen? Now that could be something right there too. Aisha the therapist asked if it's hard for Martell to allow Melody to be that emotional support. And Mel tells him, you can't stop and be stuck because the kids need a father and the work needs to be done and money needs to be made. And she tells him, you got 5 kids to look after now. And he asks her not to bring up the 5th child. Now, we learned that the kids don't know about the other child. Melody wants to know when he's going to tell their children that he has another child someplace else. He don't want to discuss that right now. He don't ever want to discuss this 5th child. But you didn't mind discussing it on Instagram. I don't understand. You didn't have a problem introducing this child on Instagram when you were posting Milani. So why would you have a big problem talking about this child on the show? Riddle me that, okay? They have a little joint confessional, which is very interesting because they're a divorced couple. And I don't know that we've ever really seen something like this on a reality TV show. So shout out and props to Carlos King for getting them to film a joint confessional, okay? Because I thought that was major. And they are still bickering about whether or not he actually still wants to be with her. Apparently, he still texts her that he want to be with her, but he's saying that the only reason that he would text her that is because they got kids together. And if they didn't have no kids together, that he wouldn't be texting her. Kim Porter, thank you so much for that super chat. We appreciate you on this good Sunday, love. Thank you so much. Miss Price, the therapist, then tells a story about her divorce. And in her divorce, when the husband had to introduce their child to his new son that he didn't know about, apparently, she went along with the child and the ex to make that introduction happen. Okay. To make that introduction happen. And she uses this as a way to say that by her going on that journey with them, it let her child know that even though she may be dealing with this internally, that it was okay that this was happening by her mere presence there. So that leads Mel and Martell to kind of have a little bit of a breakthrough, but they didn't really go into what they were going to do about it and how they were going to get to that point of telling the kids. But they do high five each other because I guess they agree with her story about being on the same team. Okay. And in that regard, it would seem to me that they would try to find a way to still work together on the 47 acres and a mule. Okay. To make some money for both of them. But I digress. I'm not talking about that no more until next week. So they head out of the session and they talk about Chris asking to build Melody to build some houses on the 47 acres. Martell thanks Melody for thinking about him, but Mel is trying to let him know that she's still thinking about building some homes on that plot of land. So he gets upset and he tells her that she ain't ever built no houses. Okay, I guess it was him that was building the houses. But she let it be known that, sir, you ain't ever laid a brick nor put a house on a foundation. So really, you haven't built the house either. Now, clearly, they were both being petty in this moment because I just kind of felt like, they didn't really even have to go there with each other like that. But clearly, he's upset because she's really about to make some business moves that he know he can't make because he don't have the qualifications that she has. Martell, you got to get that license. And I know sometimes it sounds like I come down hard on Martell, but it's because as a man, I feel like he has a huge responsibility to do the right things. And it pains me that every week I feel like I see him doing the wrong things when he could be doing so much of the right things. And this is just what I'm going to say about this. You don't have to be in a relationship or married to have a successful life. However, what I will say, though, is it is very important that in your life, you choose the right partner, because the right partner will have you doing good business, building credit, building wealth, peace at night. You know what I'm saying? They will have you living good, eating good, and sleeping good. But if you get with the wrong person, they will have you stressed, depressed, down on your luck. So I don't mean to say that Melody or Ariane or whatever her name is, one is better than the other. But I'm sure that at a certain point in time, when Martell looks back over his life, the life with his wife sounds definitely better than the life he is currently living. Okay? Because at least with her, and I don't know this Ariane lady, I don't know her. She could be amazing. Okay? But what I can say when it comes to business is Melody at least has the qualifications needed to get the jobs done. And that's all I got to say for y'all today. This was another good episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. I thank you guys so much for joining me today on this little journey that we took to discuss all this. I appreciate your feedback. Oh, so silly. I appreciate y'all feedback. Y'all correct me if I make a mistake, which is great. Y'all help me find little loopholes and things that may have been missing that I felt like, okay, cool. So I appreciate y'all and everything that y'all provide, and y'all add to this channel just as much as I do. So I appreciate that. With that being said, guys, make sure you have a great Sunday. As y'all already know, if nobody has told you today, I love you. Go tell somebody else that you love them, spread a little love, and keep this chain going. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in tomorrow's video. We'll be recapping Potomac. I will catch y'all later.